Jaykrawls here doing the first video about the boss strike that's upcoming December 18th through the 21st. They said they're doing Yuzul, the Raptor Trainer, which is not the very first boss strike that we had in the original, but it looks like some of the rewards they're giving us come from the first boss strike. So we're not quite sure if they're kind of mixing it up a little bit. I'm assuming that they thought that because of where we're at with units that we have, that it'd be better for us to fight rebels and critters, which would be a little bit easier. Um, so I'm okay with that. The one thing that I'm curious about is what promotional unit that we're going to get with this, because the three of the boss strikes for this from Yuzul, the Raptor Trainer, uh, they gave the legendary Mammoth as a promotional unit for two of them. So that would be amazing to start off with giving us the promotional unit, the legendary Mammoth. It would be awesome. And I would recommend getting as many as of those guys as you can afford because they truly help out in the boss strike. They are a great mass damage unit and a stun locking unit that you can put on the second row behind your meat shields and just cut through the enemies. And I'll show you a little bit of how that worked in a boss strike back in the day. So a lot of questions that I'm getting about are like, what type of units do I need for the boss strike? What about my resources? You know, what tips? What do I expect? And basically, because there's so many waves, you're going to lose units, and you can't help that sometimes. And the weaker your army is, the more units that you're going to lose, which means they're going to be in the hospital more, and that's less time that you can prepare and plan out for the boss strike. Most people say, well, while everything's healing, I'm going to just use wimps and just spam wimps. It works, but it doesn't give you a lot of boss strike points, and then you're just piling up a bunch of dead wimps that you have to heal at some point. And while they do heal faster, it's better if you come up with some units that can get you through the boss strike waves and then just kind of fill in the few units that die as you go. And then that way that you cut down on your resources being used from healing units and the fact that you get more points that way. And then if you do find a strategy where you can get through all the waves with the units that you have, that's ideal because you're not losing anything and you're only gaining points. And then you just fight after fight after fight. Inevitably, you're going to lose some things. So here's some tips to help deal with those things. So your first row, you're thinking about meat shields because that's going to take the most of the damage for all the waves. You're going to think about what we have right now: super tanks, your walls, uh, wimps. They're strong, disposable on the front row. Um, Other meat shield ideas that you might want to do is your heavy tanks. Obviously, just one thing to remember is that whatever unit that you're using, think about the resources that it's going to cost to heal that unit, and do you have enough of those to keep you going? If everything's dead and then you use up all your resources, you're not going to be able to heal anything and you're just going to be stuck. You're either going to have to spend nanopods to get something healed, in which you can only do that for so long before it'll get too expensive, or you're just going to have to stop playing or just filled wimps if you have those. Yes, I do recommend having wimps, and you can spam those with unmanned guns and machine guns as well, which will help give you points, but they're just going to die off pretty quickly, and you're going to be left wondering why your scores are lower than other players. Um, so so after you deal with meat shields, which is your front line, you're going to want some mass damage units on the second row. And those units, there's a lot of units that you can use as mass damage units. Uh, Anything that's basically going to hit more than one space on the board, that can do damage to more than one unit at a time is what you're thinking for that row. And remember that there are going to be some walls on some of these levels, so you're going to have to deal with those walls. So some things Some of the damage types won't go through walls, so you need to get something that can either go over walls or something that can single out, take out single units or something. That's why I hope the legendary mammoth is what comes, because it doesn't matter. Just stun locks, smashes through walls. It don't matter. Love that unit. Hope they do that. It would be awesome. I think it would generate a lot of excitement as a first unit, and people will have a lot of fun playing with that guy. So I'm hopeful that they do that. On your back row, you're going to want more specialty units. Those are units that can take out a single unit really quickly, and that's because, say, when that wave comes on board and you look at one unit that is likely to kill one of your units quickly, like your meat shields on the front row, or something that can get past the meat shields and kill something in the back row, those are the kind of guys you're going to want to take out first, so you can wipe them out quickly. So you want to use something that can do massive damage to one unit anywhere on the board on the back row. And also you want to think about throwing something in there that can hit air units, because there will probably be some of those spider wasp units or something like that that can fly. We're not quite sure what they're going to put in there, but if they're recreating some of the old boss strikes, which is likely, um, there's a wasp unit that was the flying unit for that. Hospitals and resources, obviously. You're going to be able to make donations, but your resources need to be able to keep up with healing units, and also for the donations. So you're going to constantly be donating either wood or concrete. Could be either of those two items. Um, it'll be one of the two. They'll let you know when the boss strike starts, or maybe a little bit before, and those are the resources that you're going to be able to uh, get points for the boss strike by turning in those resources. Um, but you also need other resources like steel and oil and other things to keep your units healing in the hospital. So make sure your resources are adequate to keep up with those things, as well as go and figure out what your unit costs to heal with what you have, the advanced hospital versus the regular hospital, and see how many uh, like gears or how many bars or whatever it's going to take to heal that unit. And then think, if you're mass spamming that unit and a lot of them die, how long can you sustain that before you're completely out of those resources, and then you can't heal those units anymore, and then basically you're taken out of the game for a while, maybe even the whole week. Like it's 4 days, so if everything dies off and you don't have enough resources, maybe the last 2 days you're just sitting there uh, donating resources and fighting with wimps, and you'll get some points, but it will hurt you. Um, Another tip is fill up your reserves right before the boss strike starts. Some of you might be tempted to go ahead and rank up that unit one more rank before you go, and it's going to drain your resources. Just think about that strategically. If you're only going to get like 35 more hit points on that unit, is it really smart to go ahead and wipe out your resources just for those 35 health points, or just a few extra hit points to it? If it's the awesome unit that's going to take you to the next level, maybe it is worth it. But think about it if it's not, and don't waste those resources. Also, get plenty of sleep, because if you're going to be serious about the boss strike, you're not going to get a lot of sleep during the boss strike. You'll fall asleep and be drooling while you're playing a battle, and wake up and be like, oh, and then you'll start another level. But so that pretty much is some of the tips and tricks and the setups that you'll use. And I kind of want to go through. I do have this video online from like 11 years ago, and one of them I'm talking in, the other one I just you can just search the Raptor Trainer boss strikes, and then my name, and you'll see jaykrawls, and then you'll find some of those videos. I'll try to leave a link in it. But as you can see here in the back row, I pretty much have all the front row filled with the mega tanks, and then the legendary mammoths on the second row. And you can see there how he hits everything on the board, and then he stuns. He's also able to stun lock some units, which is amazing, right? That's what you want to see. And Also, I got a few units in the back that can single shot units, and I also got an air unit in the back as well that takes out air units greatly. So I used him, uh, the UH-1B for that. Also, something we might run into this is the cannon towers, which are kind of difficult. But what I try to do is when the cannon tower, which is usually the last unit left there, um, while he's respawning, waiting to heal, sometimes if I know I'm going to the next level, I'm not going to kill him immediately. I'm going to give some of my units a chance to get their to rebuild their fire back up so that they can actually shoot. You don't want them to sit there where they can't attack for 3 rounds, and then you killed something that wasn't going to be able to kill you or take a shot for another 3 shots anyway. So before you start that next round, you might just want to do a couple of passes and then take him out right before he gets his shot back. So that's just a little bit of tip. You also see walls here. That's going to be something inevitable, and some of the mass damage units can't go through walls. So your heavy chem tanks won't be able to shoot directly through the wall. You could use the second attack and shoot over the wall, but it's not going to do as much damage when you get to a phase with walls. So if it's something like this, which I expect it to be something like that, that's probably what you're going to be looking for in the ball strike. If you have any more questions or comments, leave them below. Maybe I have some time, I can make another video to answer specific questions that you have. But that's just kind of a summary of what I do and what I did planning for the ball strikes. All right, guys, good luck out there and have a good time. And if you're looking for a guild to join, there's a lot of good guilds out there. Our guild is full right now, but we are looking for elite players, and we have a second guild, Phoenix, that people can come into and prepare, prove themselves to come up and to make it to BSR. But right now, everybody's got like a big restart, so we're all going to find out where we all stand, aren't we? Pretty soon, right? All right, guys. Good luck out there.